Hi, everyone. It is still October 14, 2019. I want to pass along some information that is on other channels. Deborah Tavares will be the last video, but the first is Ice Age Farmer, who I have subscribed to, and he really shows us what is happening to farming. So you might want to come over here. I will put all links below my video in the description box. Click on the link and check out Ice Age Farmer's videos, because it really does, well, let you see that farming is being destroyed in our country big time, and the destruction is deliberate. So, regarding California's fires, well, let's just see, or let's just listen to what Ice Age Farmer has to say about those power outages and the ripple effects. Yeah, it extended to farmers, ranchers.
Hey folks, well the good news is the red flag warning has concluded, and so PG&E has begun the process of using their LIDAR-equipped helicopters and drones to inspect the 100,000 miles of distribution lines and transmission lines that they own and operate, and gradually turn on the power back to North California. So that's the good news. The other good news actually is that there are lots of people talking about this now. So it turns out we were just ahead of the curve here at the Ice Age Farmer channel in discussing it, but I'm glad to see other people discussing it. There are two avenues, however, that are not being explored right now, and that is that communications have been affected. It's not just the grid that went down. So here from Bloomberg, AT&T and Verizon race to shore up service threatened by the PG&E outage. AT&T and Verizon are rolling out generators, backup batteries, and technicians to keep their wireless networks operating in parts of California where PG&E cut the power. Quote, "We are aware that service for some customers may be affected." It is, I'm telling you, it's been affected by this event, and we're working as quickly as possible to deploy additional generators, which are hard to get right now, and recovery equipment, according to AT&T. It's not just AT&T and Verizon. There are reports on Twitter that T-Mobile has been affected minimally in Grass Valley. And it's unsurprising, folks. This is what happens when, it's why we call the grid a linchpin of modern civilization, and the just-in-time food delivery system being another, where all of these systems are very bespoke and are constructed atop each other. So a series of catastrophic cascading failures is entirely plausible, and in fact is happening right now. We're seeing that. First responders, they even call out in this article, in some cases rely on those networks. So it's not something that you want to go down. Comcast as well was having outages, and here we see that reports of traditional AT&T landlines failing, this is from Ubinet, are multiplying. We've reached out to the company for an explanation. Most likely, however, the battery packs in their remote terminals are depleted. We're trying to confirm that. So, you can say, all right, your power's down, your internet's off, big deal, hang on. Oh, your cell phone too? Well, tough it out. But now your landline is also not working. So we're starting to talk about a situation where you're completely cut off from the outside world, and there's no way to get information. This is a different situation than just a long power out. And I just want to articulate that very quickly, because if there's an effort to control information, I mean, it's a good thing you have ham radios, right? Because amateur radio operators are always able to stay in contact. Only California last month started sending out, this is by way of offgridsurvival.com, these messages to tower operators, to folks who run repeaters, because there's a lot of hills and it's hard to get direct signal, and especially what a repeater does, for those of you who don't use ham radio, and you should learn, is, if you've got a small handheld unit, or just a smaller tower in your backyard, you can only reach so far. But you can generally reach, hopefully, to get to a tower, a nice repeater, which is a free thing that works out there, it's listening, and if you hit it with your signal, it turns around and it broadcasts it out again much stronger. And so people communicate via these, they're like relays for the signals, these repeaters. So the state of California sent out a little message saying, hey, ham radio, you've been great. We know and appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you so much. And thanks to technological advances, we no longer need ham radios. And so, therefore, the department is no longer financially supporting ham radio operators. We are rescinding your free leases to any state properties that you have to operate these towers. You're going to need to give us a few $1,000s to apply for permission to keep operating this, and then you're going to have to pay to lease the space. So they're not taking away people's licenses. There's been a lot of people that have reacted pretty severely to this, and I want to be careful in how I message this. They're not going crazy and taking away licenses. They're not coming for your radio, but it is the slow whittling away, right, of people's rights. And so, folks, to do this, to execute this kind of a thing, right as you see the grid go down, and phones go down, landlines, and internet, and cell service, you are forced to imagine an extended grid down situation where this is your only line of communications, and we should not let the state take this from us. We gotta really fight against this. So that's why I wanted to bring it up here. There's a second aspect of these outages that's not being talked about, and that is the agricultural aspect. It's too soon for farmers. Everyone's just dealing with the problem right now, so it's too soon for interviews and media to come up with news stories on what's happening today, right? It's still happening today. But if you look back in June at the previous public safety power shutdown from PG&E, you see headlines like this: power shutoffs are creating a disastrous situation for livestock, and in general, many farmers operate on PG&E dependent wells. You see down here, our well went out last. For people like us, this is a disaster. According to cattle rancher and owner of Roni Land Cattle, our well went out last week and we had hundreds of cattle in the field that couldn't get water. This is going to cost us money. If people out there in these remote areas don't have water sources that don't depend on PG&E, or that aren't free of PG&E, then they're in trouble. He says, bottom line, no one's going to die, but I'll have to truck in water and it's going to cost you money, and this is just another blow to farmers who are suffering repeated blows. Here's another bit, again from June, but now prescient. You'll see Butte County farmers are fearful that more power shutoffs will affect crop storage and processing. Back in June. If the outages continue, especially on the valley floor, rice mills will be affected. Quote, the processing in our rice and farming facilities would stop functioning as a result of the power outage. This is a major issue. If it happened during harvest time, which is now, especially, it would create even more of an impact. You can't harvest rice if you can't dry it. We're already late as it is, and if power shutoffs happen, it would be an issue.
So we are seeing this not just in California, but we're also seeing it in so many areas in central Midwest U.S. with all of the flooding that took place, and recently the snow. Harvest. How do you harvest a crop when it's sitting in 2 feet of snow, North Dakota? The ripple effects are huge, huge. And, well, all across our country, we get an awful lot of food from California. All right, another video that Ice Age Farmer posted, very important as well.
Good afternoon, folks. The power has been out for about 12 hours here in North California, and already we're descending into chaos, shots fired at PG&E, and municipalities instituting curfews, if you would believe it. I'm Christian, and this is the Ice Age Farmer channel. And I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm seeing here on the ground. I went out this morning to get a sense for how quickly the chaos is emerging. I'm being a bit facetious, of course, there. People are pretty level-headed. And of course, we went through an exercise with this 2 weeks ago. It's the cities that I'm worried about because this is a very urban population here. A lot of these people live in the country and they're used to things like this. But San Mateo, San Jose, these are folks that live there and commute into the city. And many places have local ordinances where you can't generate your own power. You can't run a generator in your suburban house. So a lot of these people are actually going to be more affected by this, and we want to take a look at that. The situation is, it's just not windy. It's not windy here on the ground, nor is it humid at all. It's pretty stagnant. So a lot of people are sort of calling PG&E's bluff, saying what's going on here. And I just want to offer that this has nothing to do with public safety. The media coverage too is awfully light. PG&E, wine country businesses were trying to get their generators in time. This is a helpful reminder, as are the lines at gas stations last night and at grocery stores trying to get food and water for the week, that you need to prepare in advance, folks. I've got a link, iceagefarmer.com/prep, where you can purchase store food and everything you need for these kinds of situations. But you do it now. Don't wait until it's too late. It's just the way it works, and it's always the advice. These people waited until it was too late. The media is also giving attention to stories like this. Bay Area mothers are concerned about losing their breast milk. So it's just really not the deepest, hardest hitting media coverage you'd expect. What about diabetics or the people that require refrigeration for their medicines or power for their machines? There's a tremendous amount of news that's just being completely ignored with that kind of media coverage. So people are frequently saying, fix your lines, PG&E. It's not. We don't need you to run these ridiculous campaigns. We need you to fix your infrastructure and keep the power on. But I want to remind people, again, that's not what they're interested in. This isn't about public safety. And the reason some people were saying, why are they getting, the executive directors were just announced today, $11 million of bonuses for the executive board. And that's because they're doing a great job. They're doing exactly what they're tasked with. And I did a video, what the hell is PG&E doing, where I went in depth into their connections to the Rothschilds, to the deep state, if you want to call it that, to the U.S. State Department for 34 years, another gentleman, senior advisor to the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI. PG&E is a deeply connected infrastructure operation. It's a huge operation. And so please check that out, because I don't want to get back into repeating all of that here, but it is key in understanding what's going on. As is, here's another example of what these people are actually being compensated for, to the tune of $11 million. Mary D was here. She's a bankruptcy specialist. In fact, she has participated in numerous restructurings in Chapter 11, including the last one for PG&E in 2001. So literally, she has making millions of dollars running this operation into the ground financially over and over. I enjoyed it so much, I stuck around for the next bankruptcy. Great job, Mary D. So yes, they're being paid well because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is run into the ground and use this as an excuse to do a massive surveillance operation using these LIDAR-equipped helicopters across now 56 counties. They've been doing this since April, starting in Lake County and Mendocino, and then moving their way down in the last 2 weeks through the previous shutdown, and now, like I said, into the populated areas, going down onto the peninsula, San Mateo, San Jose areas, and just pushing the envelope, imaging with high-resolution LiDAR that uploads the data into the cloud, massive areas in North California. And that's an incredibly rich data set, as I talked about in that What the Hell is PG&E video, doing its topography. You can see into some structures, you can see water features and vegetation thickness. You certainly know who's growing what, where, and how much. And you can tell who's got underground structures, right? This is an incredibly rich data set that's been acquired here. And briefly, I'll just show you. Here's a picture of that helicopter, one of those helicopters, LiDAR equipped, making passes right over my space. And there's no power lines on this side of the house. They're just zooming around over here, making maps of something. Or, I can only speculate, but I want to, if you're going to speculate, at least be informed by the fact that they're LiDAR equipped and Defense Department connected. Okay,
So why are they collecting data? First of all, if you want to know the difference between radar and LiDAR, you can click on the link below, a technology toe-to-toe. Radar is also used for surveillance. LiDAR, well, it is, it's It has the kind of resolution that radar does not. And LIDAR can see inside your home. So, LIDAR bounces out laser beams, measures how long it takes for the light to hit an object or surface, calculating the distance to the object the light just hit and forming data points. Millions of those data points, called point clouds, are processed as a 3D visualization in seconds, rendering accurate object displays, all without video surveillance cameras. Unlike radar or sound waves, LIDAR does not dissipate as it travels back to its scanner. So why are they flying these helicopters around where there are no power lines? They're collecting data. They want to see how people are responding, how they are responding to not only the power outage, but curfews. They did institute curfews. 7 o'clock, be inside. You've got a power outage. It's all for your safety. Really, it's all for your safety. But they leave you without any access to communicate, landlines, cell phones, internet, all down. That's real safe, huh? Okay, so something else is going on. With every event, you can bet that there are multiple objectives that they are implementing, and it's not just one thing. So, smart LIDAR network set to unlock missing layer in surveillance technology. A network of laser-powered smart sensors that can automatically link with other types of sensors and activate CCTV cameras to provide multi-dimensional surveillance. The power and accuracy of laser combined with smart AI-driven tech. Wow. Well, yeah, my brain. Detection. Wow. Okay. And tracking technologies to build a detailed image of activity in a given area regardless of lighting conditions. Helios. Many of you probably have heard of the Helios system. Well, that's LIDAR. Helios system consists of a network of smart LIDAR units called Vista Edge, which combines a LIDAR sensor with a powerful microcomputer in a single package. Boom! So, they've been dropping sensors, nano sensors, all over the world. Do you know if you have any sensors on your property, on your house, in your house, on your body, inside your body, on your clothing that you buy, on every product that you buy? Well, you might be missing it all because nano sensors, like, I don't know, the size of a grain of sand or smaller. So those sensors may already be in place, and they're collecting all of the data everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Everything you do. All that data is now being collected. Wow. Well, for sure our country has transformed. I want you to listen to just a few minutes of this Deborah Tavares interview, and I will link below to everything, so watch the full videos, listen, circulate, and try to, wake up people, because it's important to do this because your life is at stake. Everything you own is at stake. And They want it all. They're coming for it. You're lucky if you haven't been hit yet, but that's all you are, is lucky.
We are now working neighbor to neighbor to help people that do not have power set up their generators. Sadly, some people are putting them inside their homes or inside their garages, and that is going to create carbon monoxide poisoning, and they need to be vented and outside. But what we are facing is a historic blackout by Pacific Gas and Electric, who is Rothschild. All of our utilities worldwide are run by the global bankers, and that is the reason for the deployment of the electric smart meters that started many years ago for control and consolidation of the power. What we're experiencing here is unbelievable. This is not only a transformation from the electric power grid as we have known it under the guise of climate change. We're being told we have to reduce our use of everything in order to change the weather. Now, I don't know what it's going to take for people to not connect the dots with what they're hearing us disclose now, because the documents tell us this. And the weather, of course, is run by mass amounts of technology. It's all created. The conditions of this critical fire season that we find ourselves in on the very day, Richie, that they burned us up on October the 8th of 2017. They started this red flag fire warning conversation on October 8th in an area of trauma, existing trauma, where people are still living in recreational vehicles, trying to find a place to park. We have massive, our area is ranked number 10 in homelessness in the United States because of the disruption of housing. We've been hit by weather weapons, not only fires, but also floods in February of 2019, where they literally plummeted a wastewater treatment plant, contaminated all of the streams and rivers. So the blackout right now is part of a massive psychological warfare right now. This is war. Make absolutely no mistake. We are all going to face this. Everyone listening is scheduled for blackouts. They're going to posture the blackouts from a variety of ways that they will convince you it's a blackout. The heat, it will be too hot, which of course they create. Now, Richie, I've been referring people to the climate action plans for years. Everyone has a climate action plan that has been approved in their city. And these plans state blackouts are going to happen, dark starts. Now, we need to understand what this is also going to mean. We're actually literally going around our neighborhoods at night, because during the fires of 2017, there were van loads of people being bussed up from the Bay Area here, about 60 miles north of the Golden Gate Bridge, that were looting homes that had not burned around the peripheral of the fire. And several people that stayed behind and saved neighborhoods because they did not leave had to chase looters out in droves with shovels. So I can tell you right now, we have a multi-layered attack going on. We're in the dark. Many neighborhoods are in the dark, and it's very interesting to see how they are observing who's home or not. We're getting telephone books delivered on people's driveways during a blackout. When we have gas stations closed, we have lines around the block of people waiting to fill their gas tanks. We've had fights at the gas pumps. We have street closures. We have four-way traffic lights that are not working, increased crashes because of that. And we have the concern of looters, as what we experienced in the 2017 firestorms that Pacific Gas and Electric deliberately created. Many of you, I hope, by now have listened to our YouTube plan to burn up Northern California. If you haven't, you need to. This is not just California. Understand, these are the global bankers set to absolutely do a massive land grab. And we are going to become climate refugees on many, many levels. And this historic blackout is unprecedented. There has never been an outage this large in California. We can expect many, many more expanded outages with conditions created to start fires. Now, what we've learned too, Richie, is that Cal Fire, I have on stopthecrime.net, people can go and type in our search bar, Cal Fire's Burn 'em Up list. They have the cities in California listed. And I would recommend highly that everyone go to stopthecrime.net, to our YouTube video channel. We've been doing a lot of boots on the ground filming, and you're going to see lots of information beyond just the fires, but how we're intentionally being made to be blind.
You've always done something. It's a tremendous credit to you and your team. You've always produced the documentation from, whether it's from local authorities or from national authorities to support your conclusions. Deborah Tavares is our guest, stopthecrime.net, and you mentioned psychological warfare. Does this come down to the people behind it? They want basically to clear the land. They want people to get out of rural areas, of these beautiful areas, these mountainous areas. They want them to go into, is it super cities, Deborah? Is that the plan?
No, they want to actually kill more people than they will ever move into the smart cities. That's an illusion. There is a plan to get rid of people. And what everyone needs to understand, and we have a couple of new posts on stopthecrime.net on our YouTube video channel, where we are disclosing and exposing what our utility is doing with tree trimming. They're going around and they're supposedly clearing the vegetation that they claim sparked the fires of 2017, which was a cover for directed energy weapons, the use of pulsing the smart meters, which we documented, and lasers, boots on the ground, arsonists, you name it. It was thrown at us. And certainly we lost over 6,000 homes during that 2017 fire event. And then we have Paradise. We went up to Paradise with a couple of retired fire captains and found the smart meter evidence. You will not hear this anywhere else. And I can tell you this is the biggest mass genocide program and cover-up and land grab that you will ever see. And sadly, Richie, we have people just believing that this is just a power outage for a public safety power alert.
Is that what is that what the majority of people think? The majority of people, they get their newspapers or whatever, so they think, okay, we had some really bad fires last year, this is precautionary, this is good. So the majority of people do really go along with it, no questions asked.
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting because I was sitting in our Sonoma County Board of Supervisors meeting on October 8th, the day that they were starting to announce the red flag fire warnings. Now, I went up and during my 3 minutes, I said, okay, the conditions for the red flag fire warning are as follows. Low humidity, winds kicking up, and heat. Well, they never say that we're heavily chemtrailed. We were heavily chemtrailed, Richie, on the 8th. Absolutely unprecedented chemtrailing. That was laying out fresh combustible metals that will ignite. So our concern now is, how will they justify this power outage? Maybe start a fire and say, well, it didn't come from the power lines, so we were justified in economically demolishing your town. Because I can tell you, this power outage is absolutely devastating to small business owners. People can't find ice. There is no ice anywhere. People are unprepared because they don't believe the enormity and the intention behind this. And that's why we posted on StopTheCrime.net a fire and power outage preparedness neighborhood meeting that we had with one of the 30-year retired fire captains on what you must now do to save your homes and your properties, because we have been told, Richie, out in the WUI, get a load of that acronym, WUI, which means Wildlands Urban Interface. We are on our own. And the firefighters now, the fire captains, are saying, we're in an evacuation only.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Put your go bag on and run. And there's nowhere to run to in the sense that there is no housing. We, as I said, we're in the top 10 of homelessness in the United States. And they're planning now to start arresting the homeless people. And I can only say that with the limited housing and the fact that much of the housing here in Northern California, which is known as the wine country, is run under contractual agreements with the owners, with Airbnb, which is the alphabet, that's Google. They have literally destroyed month-to-month capability for people to find housing, because people can make more money if they're under contractual agreements with Airbnb. And when people were burned out of their homes in 2017, they were jumping from one Airbnb home to another. Some people in a 6-month period of time moved 4 or 5 times because of the contractual limitations of their being able to stay in someone else's home because they had an Airbnb contractual arrangement. This has all been pre-planned, set up, and we are absolutely being devastated. And you will not hear the truth from anyone else, as it seems.
No, you
I will
won't.
tell you
Yeah.
this.
Sorry. Let me jump back in just briefly. Deborah Tavares.
Sorry, I don't understand why volume, even within a video, one person is really loud and the other one not so. But did you notice as you were watching these fires how very interesting how spotty they are, you know? So this was the mobile park in Sylmar. Well, that started from a garbage truck. That the fire, it just, the trash inside the truck started fire. So the guy driving the truck stopped and dumped the fire on the road. And I guess it was the embers, the embers that flew from that area where the fire was dumped out of the truck. Well, they hit a few homes and turned them to, well, as you can see, destroying everything in the home once again. 1, 2, 3. Here's some more over here on this side. Did you see any firemen? Did you see any fire engines? Like, okay. So these homes burned up really fast. Really fast. I don't see any fire personnel there to put out the fires, except for the dumping of fire retardant. Oh, there were a few, I guess. Yes, okay. We have an awful lot going on. People need to understand the full ramifications of everything, the full ripple effect of everything, to get that big picture. But we're not going to be able to get any of this stopped, so all of you, everywhere, not just California, everywhere, you need to have in place everything that you need to leave really fast and prep for power outages. That, I absolutely agree with Deborah Tavares. this was massive, and they're only going to continue to do it. Anyway, links are below.